here. So I want to welcome you all to the Inspired Small Team Call on the first Tuesday of every month. Hello, Frankie. And I want to let you know that the first Tuesday we have a small team call, and then every other Tuesday we have another NMD that gives us great training. So we don't want to miss that. I know for myself anyway, if I do miss that, I often forget to listen to the rebroadcast. And just like the last week, what happened was there was only 7 minutes of that amazing training that was recorded. So we want to make sure that we really spend the time and take that Tuesday night and just carve out that half an hour and listen to some great training from some of these other NMDs. And so we're going to wrap off the year. I can't even believe it's almost over. It just blows me away. But we have a beautiful season, a blessed season ahead of us, and the Christmas season. So, and then also the next Tuesday in January is the 1st of January. So we probably don't want to have a call on January 1st. Some of you guys are traveling or out of town or whatever. So I would love to introduce and not take any more time to introduce an amazing woman. I love her to death. She is like such a great, really great friend of mine, has become a friend of mine. And I'm just so grateful to have her say yes to addressing some of our team. I'm sure you guys have texted your team members to remind them that the call's on right now. So, but without further ado, I want to introduce you to Sweet Sue Burdick. And she's a mama of 5 sons, and she lives in Georgia, Summerville, Georgia, and Summerville, Georgia. And she has been in our company for over 31 years. She actually joined in 1987. So I have kids that age. And I'm sure some of you on this call are not even 31 yet, maybe. So, Sue, I just want to take the time to have you share your story because it's so powerful when you share it. So I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you and have you share the story.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you all for taking the time to be on the call tonight. And I hope that I leave you with a few pearls of wisdom. Since I don't have a lot of those, I'm happy to share them and straighten my necklace up, straighten myself up. I don't like these Zoom calls. But anyway, here we are. Okay, so I dropped out of high school, and I married young, and I married a guy who had also dropped out of high school. And we had 5 kids in our first 6.5 years of marriage. When I had number 5, number 1 was still 6 years old. And Bob was a carpenter, and he was keeping the bills paid. And I was busy with the boys for many years. Sorry. Get this thing straight. Am I straight?
Yeah, you're straight. Don't worry.
All right. Stop looking at myself. Look at the camera, right? Okay. So I stayed busy with those boys for quite a few years. And when the youngest one went off to school, I started looking for ways to bring income into the house without having to get a job, like a 9-to-5 job. And I realized that with no education and no skills, I was going to make minimum wage the rest of my life unless I did something about it. So I got a little creative. I got a real estate license. I tried selling real estate. I tried grooming dogs. I taught aerobics. I did yard work and maid work. I washed windows. I did a couple of different sales jobs, tried to do sales jobs. And I was just about ready to throw in the towel and go get a job when a friend of mine called me and told me that he'd started something new. He was really excited about it, and he wanted to get my opinion on it. Well, nobody wanted my opinion on anything in a long time, so I was pretty flattered by that. And I invited him over, and when Bob came home from work that day, I told him, a friend is going to come get my opinion on his new business. And Bob said, "Who are you kidding? That sucker's going to try to sell us something, and we're not buying anything he's got." So that's kind of how I started my business. And I did love the product. He introduced us to the product, and then on his way out the door, he said, this little bit here, he said, "There's a great business here, and I'd like to run it by you." And I said, "I've tried sales. Thank you. No, thank you. I love your product, but no thanks to the business." And I'm so glad that my friend was persistent with me, because he just kept calling and inviting me to things. And I stood him up a couple times, and I told him no several times. And one day I picked up the phone, and he was on there with a friend of his, the guy that had gotten him in the business. And together they convinced me that my negative attitude could possibly jeopardize the financial future of my children. So I needed to at least come take a look. And, it made sense to me. They did appeal to my little sense of logic. And I made them promise that if I would call them, if I would come to this presentation, that they would leave me alone after that. I know what it is. There's a bag on that table back there with decorations in it, and it's bothering me. Anyways, nobody's house is perfect, right? But, I should have paid attention to that. Anyways, so I went to their meeting, and I went just to be polite. They told me that they if I came to the meeting and looked at what they had, looked at their business, that they would stop calling me and leave me alone. And so I went just to be polite, to get them off my back, really. And Bob told me, don't take the checkbook because they might talk you into something. And there's no money in the checkbook anyways. What I saw when I got there, I don't know how long you've been in the business or how new anybody is, but what I saw was, today we call it 12 Club. If I gathered my customer base to 1,000 points and get my business qualified, and then I taught 3 people to do the same thing, I would be making right at $1,000 a month. And if I taught my 3 how to do the same thing, gather their customer base and get 3 people to do the same thing, I would have a team of 12, and I could make $25,000 to $35,000 a year at home from my home. No special education, not a lot of money to start, $50 to start. And I was really excited by that. But I knew that I had told Bob that I wouldn't join anything that day, that we would discuss it. So I went home. I went into an afternoon meeting. I went home and I drug him back that night. And he got all caught up in the numbers just like I did. I already knew that the company, when I joined, the company was 17 years old, and now it's almost 50 years old. And you used to actually have to buy product and go out and resell it. So we've come a long way since then. Modern technology is amazing and wonderful. But so Bob let me get started that night, and what I started with was my goal in mind to do the 12 Club. And my friends told me to figure out a 3 to 5 year game plan to make that happen, and as little as 3 or as many as 5. And so that's what I did. They told me the basics of what to do, and I just started doing it. And the first thing was to get my story down, put it in writing, put it by the phone so that I would have it there with me, and be able to just have it right there so that it would empower me, having my story there and knowing what to say when I pick the phone up to call my friends. Because one of the reasons people don't talk to more people, or they don't call their friends, is because they don't know what to say. So that's the power of your story. Your power will empower you. The power of your story is empowerment. It will empower you to know what to say when you pick up the phone, and pretty soon you'll get really, really competent with your story, and you can weave it in and out of any conversation, anywhere, anytime. And so first thing I did was get my story down, and there was no big office to deal with, so we didn't have to set up the computer and all that stuff. So anyways, I got my memory jogger list started, and I got my address book out, and they said just start at A's and go all the way down and share your story and see who says yes and who says no and where it shakes out. So they told me that there was a fast track program that I could get 20 customers and 1 team member in 60 days or less, and that I would actually in 30 days, 60 days or less to make that happen. And back then we didn't get a bonus for doing it. Today there's a bonus included in that. But so that was my goal. My first month's goal was to get that done. So by the end of my first 30 days, I had actually Bob go back the day after we signed up. I actually put it in Bob's name. I said everything I've done and that I have tried has failed, so I'll put this one in your name to kind of encourage him to let me do it. And so the business was actually in his name. But the morning after, when he came downstairs to go to work, the little pile of product was sitting on the end of the dining room table, and he looked at it and told me that stuff was going to sit right there and rot. It was going to be the same as anything else I'd ever done. I just needed to go get a job and stop trying to find myself. And so it was kind of like he had issued me a challenge. And when he left, I said, I'm going to show him, I'm going to sell that stuff. He actually called it a bad word, didn't say stuff. So anyways, he was not real happy that I had joined the business, and he didn't have much confidence in me that I would do the business. So I sat down and he said, here are the basics that they taught me, and this is what I'm going to do. And by the end of my first 30 days, I had 22 customers and 3 team members. So I hit the fast track, hit the ground running, and in 30 days had that 60-day goal already happened. So I got my 3 people the next month doing the same thing that I did. Get out there and get your 20 customers and get your team members going. And then I would go back every month and try to get myself 3 more and 3 more and 3 more until I found the 5 that stuck. Actually, we in the first, Bob, after he saw that I was doing the business so well, I'm dragging this out. I meant to do it really, really fast. But he got excited once he saw that I was building the team and that I was going to make a check and that I had done the fast track. He got excited, and within less than 4 months, he quit his job and joined me. And together, in that first 4 months, her first 120 days, we talked to over 400 people. We got a lot of customers, but we only got 11 to say yes to the business. And from those 11, 8 stuck with the business, and most of them became national marketing directors. And what you'll find is through the years, people will drop off, but the one below them will roll up. So we now have roll up from many levels deep. Elizabeth Small, I don't know how many of you know her, but she used to be on my 9th level. And I went down and saw that she was the only one in this whole big long line of people doing anything. And I went down there and got in touch with her and introduced myself and asked her if she'd like me to give her a hand or help her. And I locked arms with her and went to work with her. And we went to Chicago, and we found Sandy Campagna and Karen Ann Brown, and they were on her 8th level. So it was like 15, 16 levels deep that I found these people that wanted to work, and we started working with them. And I don't know where that was going, but what you want to do is think about your structure. So the first year, we earned enough money to leave a bad neighborhood in a rented house. I don't know how many of you have ever tried to rent a house with 5 children, but I actually had to lie and say I only had 3 and hid 2 under the bed. Anyways, we left a rented house in a bad neighborhood, driving a couple of old jalopy vehicles, and came back up here that was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We came back up here to Northwest Georgia, a little town called Somerville, and bought back a little house that we had built with our own 2 hands, sitting on a little 60-acre farm. And I was so happy. I didn't think life could get any better than that. But it certainly has. The first year was the worst year. And we have now, in 31 years, built a business that spans 24 countries. And we've made millions of dollars. Our 5 boys are grown. We've got 15 grandchildren, 9 great-grandchildren, and life is great. I was born in Itawamba County, Mississippi in 1960 at home in a house with no plumbing and no electricity. And I had really never been anywhere. So now I've been over 130 times to Europe. I've been 9 times around the world. And I've been over 50 times to Japan, the Philippines, Australia, Malaysia, the Pacific Rim there. And it's just been amazing. When I set my goals, when I first saw this business, I could not have set them as high as I have achieved. So that's the importance of resetting goals. Once you reach a goal, you got to reset your goals. And that's what I did along the way. Once I got that, 12 club built, I built another 12 club and another 12 club. And it's just been really, really fun. And I think that sometimes people get frustrated when it doesn't happen as fast as they want it to happen. And there are reasons for that. I think it's that you lose sight of structure and the basics. And nobody was born knowing how to do this business. We all learned it. And you can learn it too. Think about the thing that you do for a living. How long did it take you to learn that? But you did learn it. Babies learn to walk. They don't just crawl forever just because they just stick with it. So I think that there are some basics that you can follow. Alita, do you want to jump in? You want me to just keep on or you want to jump in?
Yeah, I would just, I love what you had spoke to me earlier about sometimes some of our reps, and including myself, will get frustrated that we hear no's, especially with people we really care and love. How would you address that?
I would say I spoke to 400 people in 120 days, and only 11 of them told me yes to the business. How many of you would have left the business with those kind of odds? Just think about
Amazing.
it. People
Amazing.
say, didn't you get discouraged with so many no's? I said, when I heard a yes, I was so excited I forgot about who said no. I just concentrated on that one that said yes. And I think to my advantage was that I got those 3 people in the very beginning. When you first come into the business and you use your baby excitement, that raw excitement, and you share that with your story, people see that. And nobody wants to follow somebody who doesn't know where they're going. So you have to share your plan with people. This is my plan. I want to build to 12 club. I want to build to, $35,000 a year, owning my own business and staying home. And that's what I'm building towards right now. I've met people who make a lot more money than that, but that's what I saw. That's what I would like to do with my business. So you have to have a plan and tell people your plan. They don't want to follow your something that you're just giving a little try. You got to be all in. And sometimes when we're so excited about somebody saying yes to the business, that we don't ask them what their goals are. We don't ask them a year from today, what would you like your check to be, your monthly check from the Juice Plus business to be? And let's work from there backwards and say, okay, you want it to be this much. This is how many people you're going to have to bring into your business. So how many do you have to talk to? And we talked about that, Alita. Jim Rohn, I don't know how many of you listen to Jim Rohn, but he's a great mentor of ours. He's not alive anymore, but we met him and he was a great man. He said that people come into a business and in 90 days, they think they're supposed to be at the top, or they think they're supposed to be as good as, let's say, $1 million baseball player, a professional baseball player who hits 300. That's 3 out of 10. You swing the bat, swing the bat, swing the bat, and you hit 3 balls out of 10. That didn't say you got on base. It didn't say you didn't get out. You just hit the freaking ball. You hit the ball 3 times out of 10, and that's called batting 300, and they'll pay you $1 million. So don't expect in 90 days to be that good, okay? Expect to get a lot of no's. That's what sales is all about. That's why so many people quit. How many of you bought a car recently? If you go every 6 months to the same car lot, you'll find different salespeople there because it's hard and they don't stay. Okay, there'll be a handful, 3 or 4 who stay and sell cars forever, stay and sell real estate forever. When I went to that real estate class, there were like 500 people there. By the end of the first week, we were down to about 250. And by the time I graduated from that class, there was probably 15 or 20 people in that class, down from 500, because it was they realized before they ever even got the real estate license how hard it was going to be, and just got out of there. So you have to understand when you come into it that you're going to get more no's than you're going to get yeses, but those yeses can make you rich. You don't need to recruit an army to build an army. When Bob always shows the numbers, but he goes through them kind of fast. But if you sponsor 5 people on your front line, workers, you're going to sponsor 50 or 150 to get the 5 that are going to work good, okay? And some don't have to do that. Some people sign up 5 and they go right to work, but some people don't. I wasn't one of those. But if you sponsored 5 and then they each sponsored 5, that's 25 on your second level, right? And then those 25 each sponsor 5. That's 100. That's 525. Well, it's 125 on your next level. And then when those 125 sponsor 5 each, that's 525 on the next level. So that's the power of the marketing plan. And on your 5th level, there's going to be it's 600 and I forget how many it is, but it's over 3,000. The total of those 5 levels is going to be over 3,000 people, and you only sponsored 5, right? But you taught your 5 to sponsor 5, and they taught their 5 to sponsor 5. So I think today we don't spend enough time with people. In the Freedom Revolution website, there's a little getting started, couple of pages, 4 or 5 pages, and you need to make sure that everybody has that. I actually print it out. You know, I'm still a paper kind of girl, but I actually print it out, have them get their story out, fill in the outline, create their paragraph about the product, about the business, and then start learning your story, because that's what's going to attract people to you. Share your product story, and that's how you get customers. And you share your business story, and that's how you build your team. So without your story, and what we do is invite people to events. This is an event. You hearing my story is an event. And when we're finished, there'll probably be some of you who say, boy, I wish I had more people on hearing that. Because I always do. When I hear one of these calls or I go to an event, I say, man, I wish I had more people in the room. And so you're going to use your story to share the product. You're going to use your story to share the business. And as you're gathering customers, you're going to be building a team along the way. You don't have to wait until somebody's been on the product for 4 months or a year to bring them into the business. Somebody just starting today who hasn't even started on their product yet can have a business story and a product story. You're taking the product, something got your attention about the product. You're taking the product because of the science behind it, because there's proof that more fruits and vegetables make you a healthier person, and you want to be a healthier person. I'll be 69 years old January 3rd. And so now my goal is to look good and feel good and live a long, healthy life. And so that's what I'm all about. Okay? So I share that story with people and gather customers. And some of your best customers, best distributors are going to come from your customer base. Those raving fan customers that are giving you leads or sharing, you know, how good they feel with their friends, they're the ones that you want to bring into your business from your customer base. So look at this. If you talk to 2 people a day, if you talk to 2 people a day, 5 days a week, that's 10 people a week. 10 times 4 weeks is 40 people in a month. And my goal has always been to do 5 customers and 1 team member a month. If you can do 5 team members and 1 customer a month, 5 customers, if you did 5 team members a month, that would be great. But if you get 5 customers and 1 team member a month for 12 months, you've got 60 customers, right? 12 a month. 5 a month times 12 months is 60 customers, and you'd have 12 team members. But statistically, from your customer base, 1 in 10 will join the business. So from your 60 customers, you got 6 more team members. So that's 18 customers and 18 team members and 60 customers in 1 year. If anybody wants to write this down so you'll remember it later. So 60 customers and 18 team members in your first year. And hopefully along the way you were teaching your customers, getting customers to be team members and referrals, and getting your team members to start building the team. Okay? So as soon as you recruit someone, you want to get their list of friends and start recruiting from that. Some people shy away from the word recruit, but I'll tell you what, look at sports teams. Gazillion dollars they make, and they recruit. They recruit heavy. They're looking for the best people. The armed forces, they say, we're just looking for a few good people, right? So that's what we're looking for. Just a handful of good people who want it. That's what you want. You want to find somebody who wants this, not just somebody who say, oh, well, I'll share it with a couple of people. Okay, we won't say no, I won't sign you up, but that's, I think that you need to tell everybody about the fast track. A lot of people will say, oh, that person said they're just going to get a handful of customers or just pay for their product. They don't need to know about the fast track. Everybody who signs that application needs to know about the fast track. They might not do it, but they just might. Okay? You might say something that, you can go from the first position to the 3rd position in 30 days and start making money faster for doing the same thing. That's what I saw. You're going to make the same amount of money. I do the same thing today that I did when I was a brand new dealer. I don't do it with as much intensity because I don't have to. I'm not as hungry. $26 million kind of satisfies that hunger. Bob calls it a financial appetite, not greed. we were hungry for money at the time. I'm not quite as hungry because money isn't everything, but was it Zig Ziglar said it rates right up there with oxygen. when you don't, what's interesting is that when you don't have any money, that's all you can think about is money. But when you've got money and your car payment's paid, or your car's paid off, and your house is paid for, or you've got money in the bank, you don't think about money like you do when you don't have it. Okay.
Well, Sue, I was going to tell you, we have just a couple minutes left, but I wanted to,
okay.
The thing I really admire with you guys is you really are hard workers. There's no way that you even need to go out on the road anymore. You don't have to do one more presentation. You didn't have to get on this phone call at 9 o'clock at night, but you did because you care. And I think when you say, yeah, sales is hard or sharing is hard, the thing that sets us apart from other businesses is that we have passion for the person's health and happiness. You know, that person who sells a car just wants the car off the lot. But we have passion for those people. We have passion because we want their children to be healthy. And I think that I love the fact that, you know, you kind of stress about qualifying your representatives so that you're not, you know, it's not just the people that say, well, I think I might know one person.
Right.
You know, then that person should be a customer of yours so you could take really good care of them. But I just love your story. I can hear it over and over again. I love your passion. I love your enthusiasm of which you share your heart with. And I'm just so grateful that, you know, let's see, we get to stay a little longer. This is
okay. Well, can I just say,
stay longer.
Okay, just a couple more things.
We have more time. That's okay.
Okay. Well, I don't want to keep everybody though, but so you see what you did by talking to those 2 people a day, 5 days a week, and doing your 5-in-1. The first year you had 18 team members and you had 60 customers. Well, let's face it, they're not all going to stay, but they're not all going to go, right? The customer retention is one of the biggest issues, because people will go, they'll start feeling better and then they'll go off the product, or they'll go off the product and then they'll come back on it 6 months later. But let's say you kept 1 in 3 customers and 1 in 3 team members. You'd have 6 team members and you'd have 20 customers in your first year. And hopefully some of your team members would start having customers and team members. So then do it again your second year, your third year, your fourth year, your fifth year. And look at what you've done. You've created a structure that is going to hold the big, huge building of your team. You can't have a tiny little, three layers on your top and expect it to hold a huge team. Look at the Empire State Building, those big, huge buildings. They have many floors of foundation underneath them to support the top. And that's what we have to have here, is you have to think about your structure. Start with structure in mind. You need to get to national marketing director. You need 5 sales coordinators in 5 different lines. 5 different lines with a sales coordinator in each line. They don't have to be front line to you, but somewhere in that line there has to be a sales coordinator. So you need 5 wide, okay, to get paid 5 deep. And so you just got to do the basics every single day and work as hard for yourself as you would for a boss. You know, if you were stuck and not making money for your boss, he would give you some things to do. And Bob and I used to have a little sign on our bathroom mirror, so that when we brushed our teeth in the morning to go out to work, we saw it. And when we brushed our teeth before we went to bed, we saw it. What did I do today to get myself closer to my financial goal? Underlined I and underlined today. Not what am I doing tomorrow, and not what is my team doing. What are we doing next week, and are my team members doing this? No. What did I do today, every day, until you reach your goal, and then you set another goal and you start over, and it's more exciting. And it's like Alita said, the more you take this product, the more you read the science behind the product, the more people whose lives you touch and change. I remember, I don't know how much longer we have, but
we have plenty of time.
Levi was in college, and he went to college after he was out of the Navy, and he had children. He did college at night, but he had a guy in the college there who had a 2-year-old that had acid reflux so bad that she was the size of like a 1-year-old child. She could hardly run around. She had a feeding tube in her belly, and it was just sad. And so Levi said, you know, my mom sells this product, Juice Plus, and I'd just like for you to try it. So we gave them chewables. And we gave them a 4-month supply and just said, just try it with your child and see. Well, within like 2 weeks, she was up playing. And they said, it can't be. So this can't, she's been this sick all her life. 2 weeks on this can't make this big a difference. So they stopped it. 2 or 3 days later, she's back on the couch. So I said, just give it to her every day for four months and let's just see what happens. She was like a new child, gaining weight. And when you see stuff like that, I mean, it brings tears to your eyes when you make that big a difference in somebody's life. And I heard somebody was saying they had a mom's chat on Facebook, sharing your stories. And this one mom has a child with cerebral palsy in a wheelchair. And when you're in a wheelchair and you can't be active, you don't have good bowel movements. And I really never thought about this, that they don't have good bowel movements, and you never will know when it's going to happen, and they got to wear diapers, and you can't go to restaurants. And it's just, so this woman put her child on the Juice Plus, and he started having regular bowel movements. And she was like, no, we know when he's going to go to the bathroom. We can go places. We can go to a ball game. It just giving that kid bowel movements freed up his whole life, gave him a life, something simple like that. So when you hear those kind of stories, that's what keeps you talking to the next person and the next person. Somebody who doesn't think that, if they're eating McDonald's every day or if they're eating a salad every day, there's no difference in that. There are people who honestly believe that. So you just got to give them some more information or say, good luck with your plan and move on to the next person, because you're not going to get everybody. It's my upline gave me one tiny bit of advice that was probably the best advice I ever got. Say less to more people. Share your 30-second story and move on. Okay? If you don't get a response from them, you don't want to stand there and convince. We're not in the convincing game. We are in the sharing our information, sharing our story game. And that's why your story is so important. You've got an interesting, compelling story, and a story that like dangles a carrot with them. I have a retired couple. I think Alita, Bill and Sharon Vaya. Yeah. They're mine and Bob's age. They're married 1 week less than Bob and me. We both celebrated 50 years of marriage this year. And so they're retired. They're both retired. And they do this business part-time. They're at QNMD for, 15 years or whatever. But they have doubled their retirement income with the part-time income they make from this. And it allows them to go on mission trips with their church, allows them to visit their grandchildren who don't live close to them. Just imagine if you doubled your retirement income with a little part-time business that they do. So there are a lot of people join this business for different things. That's why if you find out what attracted your new team member to the business, what was it that got you to sign this application, to see a future in this business? And what future do you see in this business? What is your future with this business? So get them to commit to something, and you have to ask them, what do you want from the business? When do you want it? And what are you willing to do to get it? Are you willing to give me, how much time do you have in your week to give me? How much time do you have every day? Because it's better to work an hour a day than 7 hours on Saturday. Okay? It's like an apple a day, not 7 on Saturday. Okay? So anyways, just sharing your story, and you as you gather customers, those kind of things will come into your life. You'll see, your parents. I know that my dad lived with a disease called myasthenia gravis. I don't know if anybody knows it, but it's kind of like MS. And his neurosurgeon told me that he was the only patient that he had that lived over 20 years with the disease. And my dad just died a couple of years ago. And he was healthy. He was in the hospital 6 days before he died. Okay, wow. He was 87 years old. He was almost 88. And he lived with that disease, and it didn't disable him. And the more of those stories that you have to share with people, nobody can tell me that Juice Plus is not good. There's nothing in me that would ever believe that. And it's the same thing with the business. Nobody can tell me. My 15 grandchildren are so smart and so beautiful and so athletic. I mean, we've got a rocket scientist. Levi's got a daughter who's a rocket scientist. She goes to Georgia Tech and she does an internship with NASA, for goodness sakes. you know, and she's a yoga instructor, and she's beautiful, and she's healthy, and, you know, and there are cheerleaders and bull riders and wrestlers, and they're just, they're not on drugs for attention deficit or any of that stuff. And I really attributed that to Juice Plus. We have just recently had our first autistic child in this family with 24 grandchildren total, 15 grandchildren, 9 great-grandchildren. We've just had our first autistic child, one of Levi's granddaughters. I mean, she's beautiful, she's healthy, but she's, you know, she's clearly autistic. And we don't know what causes that, but she's certainly healthy. And
that's great, Sue.
So I think that the longer you do this business, the more the science you read about what happens in your body when you flood it with fruits and vegetables, and that's what we want to do, and that's just our mission, to inspire healthy living around the world and help people create a business that will sustain them throughout their lives.
Right. Well, gosh, you have been so I love everything you've said. It's neat. I'm going to unmute everybody. Does anybody, first of all, have any questions, like a burning question they want to ask Sue? She's the master. She's the head of our heap. So
I do.
We'll put that to the test.
I have one.
Okay. What's your name?
So, hi, I'm Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi. So my big question is, working through the holidays, what's your nuggets to help people through the holidays and keep that business moving through the holidays?
I think you just have to keep talking to people. When people come into your, don't stop talking just because it's the holidays. You know what Jeffrey Burdick told me? Christmas is one day. Thanksgiving was one day. New Year's is one day. What about the other 29 or 30 days? Just keep doing what you do every day. You know, pretend that you're working a real job and you have to go to that job every day, and you have a boss there who's saying you have to do this today. Okay, so just because it's the holidays, it's actually, gift giving is in the air. So you're welcome to give people, you know, say, can I send you a YouTube clip? Can I send you a video? Would you be interested in watching a 15-second or 20-second doctor talking about, you know, Juice Plus and staying healthy? And every time somebody comes into your house, send them home with something. Send them home with, you know, a packet of the little single servings of Complete, the little packets of the chewables, something. Send them home with something. Give them a bar, okay? Fix a little goodie bag when they come to your house from the take home with them.
And then follow up.
And then, follow up. The fortune is in the follow up. Okay?
Right.
Yeah, it's not just getting a customer, it's keeping the customer. It's the customer retention. I've got customers today that I've had for as long as Juice Plus has been out. Okay, I've got water filter customers who became Juice Plus customers who are still now, you know, still customers.
Right.
And also on Facebook, I've seen all kinds of little things to do. And on the virtual office, there's all kinds of verbiage to use. Julie Herbst on her websites, Wendy Campbell on her websites. There's all kinds of stuff on different ways to attract people to the business. And, you know, just have a holiday themed get together at your house, just like you would like a healthy living party. Just have people there and have a Christmas party with a theme, with another theme.
Right. Okay?
Just don't say it's the holidays, nobody's buying, because everybody's buying. Billions of dollars is being spent right now. You just gotta, people buy what they want, so make them want Juice Plus.
And I just, okay, let's see, all of my, I thought I unmuted everybody, but that's actually the best gift I can give my children, my grandchildren, is their Juice Plus, because they are all healthy. 18 of them, all of them are healthy. You know, that's it's amazing. Just a gift, right?
Yeah.
Mm. So I wanted you guys, I'm going to try to see if I can unmute.
Just a second, Anita. The one thing that I didn't touch on, and I'll make this short, is worrying about the no's. You know, it's discouraging when you get no's, but it's not your job to worry about the no's. It's just your job to talk to people. and celebrate when you get a yes, and feel sorry for the people who say no, but don't concentrate on them. Don't let them bring you down. Okay? Don't concentrate on the no's. Concentrate on how many did I talk to today? How many did I talk to this week? How many did I talk to this month? And the results will come. This is a numbers game. You can tell that by what I said about the 5 and 1. Look what happens if you do 5 and 1, and you're not going to do 5 and 1 every month. Suppose you do it half the year. Suppose every other month you do it, you know? So concentrate on what you're supposed to concentrate on, which is talking to people and improving yourself personally and improving on sharing your story. And like Alita and I were talking, once you know your story, your basic story, if you're in front of someone with children, you can add, oh, did I tell you, or by the way, like while you're sharing your story, kids get Juice Plus free with an adult order. Would you like for your kids to have, and here's some of the results. Kids are drinking more water, drinking less soft drinks, eating less fast food, sleeping better. You know, their grades are better. Their moods are improving. All that is, from our children. Our president created this program to give children Juice Plus for free because they know most children belong to young people, and young people can't afford Juice Plus for, 4 to 6 people in their family.
Right.
So, and we give Juice Plus for free to over 1 million children around the world right now. So, or you can say, if you're in the presence of some elderly people like me, you can tell them about Dr. Bill Sears. He calls himself a prime timer. He says, we're not senior citizens, we're prime timers. And he has information on his website about how you stay in the prime of life. Like 69 now is just another number to me. I'm not worried about it. I'm saying, bring it on. Okay? So it's getting making your story compelling and telling it often.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. I am, I think I spotlighted everybody. So I just wanted to have everybody thank Sue. And we are so grateful that you jumped on with us tonight. I'm so grateful that you did. Everybody is unmuted. And
Sorry that we ran over.
No, it's okay. So thank you so much, Sue, for blessing us with your words of wisdom. I just love just sitting and listening to you. So thank you so much. You guys are all unmuted. You guys can thank her too. And
thank you so much.
Thank you, Sue. You're an inspiration.
Thank you very much. I love you, Alita. And grow your club numbers. Your club numbers is what creates your paycheck.
Okay.
All right? So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Merry
Bye.
Christmas, everybody. Happy Hanukkah.
Merry Christmas. God bless.
Merry Christmas, Sue. Give our best to your whole family.
I will. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.